So Manu Ginobili is getting inducted into the Hall of Fame tomorrow. And what are my thoughts about this? So obviously I'm biased since I'm a Spurs fan. I am a huge fan of Manu Ginobili. He is my third all-time favorite Spur of all time. I would say after Tim Duncan and David Robinson. He's right there at number three. That's where I put him in there. Just he's always been one of my favorites, and just my earliest memory of Manu Ginobili, believe it or not, was summer of 2002. I remember the Spurs had just lost to the Lakers a month or two earlier in the playoffs. It was pretty depressing. They lost the second year in a row, even though it wasn't as bad as the previous year. They still lost, and anybody who had watched that 2002 series could tell the Spurs needed just one more player. They were just like a player away from toppling them and just getting back to being NBA champs again. So I was just looking for something to be optimistic about the upcoming season on the internet. And I remember looking at a message board. There was this Argentina fan who made a post about Manu Ginobili saying, Spurs fans, don't worry. Spurs are going to overcome the Lakers next year because they got Manu Ginobili, who's the best player in Europe. This guy is the MVP of Europe. He'll put your team on top. And he even posted a clip of Ginobili, well, a Ginobili mix. And back then, way back in the summer 2002, YouTube still didn't exist. So when you downloaded these videos, it took a lot of megabytes. I think the Ginobili mix I downloaded was like 100 megabytes, and the internet was not as fast as it was back then. It must have taken an hour to download just the video mix. But when I downloaded it and then I watched it, it was like 5 minutes long, but it was worth it. Those 5 minutes, I was just amazed by the highlights he put up from the EuroLeague. And I was just like thinking in my mind, like, if this guy can do the same thing he did in the EuroLeague and the NBA, then the Spurs are set. They're going to win multiple championships with this guy. This guy is going to be amazing. And then I just remember just a month or two later in the championship of basketball, which FIBA had, and they had it in the U.S. way back in the fall of 2002. He showed out in that tournament. He handed the Team USA's first loss ever in international play with NBA players, which was historic. Argentina ended up finishing in second in that tournament because he got hurt, but still, it was just an amazing showing, and it kind of gave me hope. Like, this guy could be really special. He just took down Team USA. This guy has star potential, and then I saw his first game as a rookie, which was evidently against the Lakers. And even though he didn't score that many points in that game, I think he scored 7 or 8. If you were watching that game at the time, which I was, I could just see how special he was. He made some amazing hustle plays. He had some amazing drives to the hoop. He just looked amazing, and just there was just he just brought this intangible quality about him to that game, which would be his staple throughout his career. Just he made these uncanny plays that just made you shake your head like, wow, I couldn't believe he was able to do this. He had these amazing cat-like reflexes in that game. So it was exciting. The Spurs won that game, and it was just the sign of good things to come. They would actually beat the Lakers that year in the 2003 playoffs, and Ginobili played a huge role in that just off the bench. He was a great spark plug. So just he was just amazing, and so the rest was just like historic after that. I felt Spurs won their second championship in 2003 with Ginobili as one of the key components. Granted, Ginobili wasn't a star yet, but I think really his coming out party was summer 2004, where he led Argentina to gold. He beat Team USA on the way to the gold. Granted, USA was finished as a bronze medalist, but still, that was just amazing run. So again, just it was awesome. As an NBA player, if you look at his accolades, it's not really what you would call real amazing. He's made 2 All-Star games, 2 All-NBA third teams, and just 4. Well, not just 4. I'm gonna say he has 4 NBA championships. I know some people will say like, well, that's not worthy of the Hall of Fame, and I guess, and I can be honest and objective. He said it was just based on his NBA career, he probably doesn't get in. Most likely, he doesn't even get in at all if you're just basing on his NBA career. but he's getting it also because of a combination of his international career and NBA career. So I get that. So, but I can understand how some people could feel that way. But I think, if you base it on his international career, he's definitely worthy of it, since it's not the NBA Hall of Fame, it's the Basketball Hall of Fame. And just personally, I have to say my favorite time in Ginobili's career watching him really was from the fall of 2004 until the summer of 2007. That 3-year span was just really magical. It was exciting to watch. You could say at one point in time, and I know I'm being biased, but I really felt Ginobili was the most exciting player in the NBA. Just every game during that 3-year period for me was just must-watch TV, because he always had some amazing play. It could be a pass, it could be a dunk, it could be some amazing defensive play. He just did it, and I also enjoyed seeing him get underneath guys' skin. You got to remember, the NBA was still very physical around that time period. They didn't really start enforcing these rule changes where they call touch fouls until probably the end of the decade. I would say they really starting to call the game more closely probably after 2007, I would say. And then obviously by the start of 2010, they started calling touch fouls left and right. But during that span when Ginobili, I would say his peak happened, the league was still very physical. You still had hand checking going on. And just to see him frustrating these guys, they would get angry. They would just flagrantly foul him. Today, these flagrant fouls that they committed on him would result in ejections. I still remember the '05 playoffs, just how many dirty fouls he took just every round. Guys just throwing him down like it was like wrestling, and just seeing him still get and ones on them or even dunks. It was just ridiculous. And just seeing how angry the opponents were, it was pretty exciting. I remember just laughing at just their misery. They really, really hated him because he didn't look like the type. He didn't look like the stereotypical European player before he played in the league. They were just soft, easy to push around, not athletic, just only good at shooting jump shots and just being a good passer. But they couldn't play with that tenacity and ferocity that Ginobili played with. So I think it took these guys by storm. They took them off guard, and they really hated playing against him. He really got underneath their skin on both ends of the court. He was just relentless, and he wouldn't quit. So I really enjoyed that, and I'm just excited to see him get in. And yeah, just thanks for a great career, Ginobili. You really deserve this moment, and I look forward to watching it tomorrow.